My name's Ben Partridge. I'm an engineering and photography teacher with St Cyrus School in Penarth and lead practitioner for digital learning with the Central South Consortium. This year I've been one of a number of teachers looking at ways that we can get pupils using AI creatively in our classrooms. As a staff, we've had a number of us now using AI for a little while, mainly around administrative tasks, reducing workload, creating resources and things like that. I think this year we really wanted to explore, is there a way in which we could actually integrate it into our classrooms and get pupils using it to develop those kind of digital competency skills that they're going to require through education and beyond. The first step for us was engaging in some pupil voice, getting a range of different opinions on pupils' understanding of AI. What we found was that there was a real desire from pupils to have some clear guidance on its usage, the ways in which it can be leveraged to benefit them and develop their skills, but also where should they draw the line and what can be considered unfair use as well. I think pupils were very aware that maybe other pupils in the class might be using it, and they felt that they still wanted to get recognition and reward for their hard work, and that they could feel confident in the system to be able to acknowledge their effort versus someone else that maybe was using AI in an unethical way.
I don't think AI should be banned in schools, because when we leave school, when we leave high school, it's going to be in college, it's going to be in uni, it's going to be in careers. So to ban it in high school would just limit our skills to know how to use AI in the future, and it's going to be a big part of our lives. Like, it's not like it's going to go and it's going to, like, we're not going to use it. It's going to be there, and we can either use it it's going to be either a disadvantage to us or an advantage to us, and we want to use it to help improve our lives and make it useful to us. Like I said earlier, it can be used to cheat and plagiarism and all these things, but when used in the correct way, if schools teach right, then it'll be used in a way to help students advance further.
Yeah, I think it shouldn't be banned in schools because, like Cleo said, it's moving so fast, like everything is expanding, and I think when schools teach it, like, as well as like the good sides, they should also teach us how to not be plagiarizing it, because loads of people and teachers will be like, oh yeah, you can use it, but don't use it as a form of plagiarism. But I think it's more the thing of like, what is it? Like, what is plagiarism and how can we not plagiarize work? Yeah, I think it's really important in schools, especially now, because it's advancing so fast.
Our interventions with AI this year focused around two key areas. We wanted to get pupils using AI as an enhanced search engine for research, getting more tailored, specific, personalised responses to assist them with their work, but also we wanted to experiment text-to-image generators and how those could be used creatively in the classroom, not just to inform people outcomes, but also to develop different skills within the lessons.
So some of the examples I can give you where our students started using AI in their work was pretty much at the start of their projects, where they're trying to gather information on a scenario, on a brief, or are a little bit stuck for information. So in the past, where they would have gone out and interviewed a potential target user and undertaken a lot of this research outside the classroom, we were using ChatGPT and other sources of AI to put AI in the role of a potential target user. So they were getting feedback on some scenarios, on some potential briefs, almost instantly.
Within design technology, we were really interested in using AI text-to-image generators to develop products and design products. And again, talking about the idea that it is there to develop a skill, not produce an outcome. We wanted pupils to be able to be agile in their designs, so they were able to take on views and opinions of their target users and adapt their work to reflect that. So what we had pupils do was pair up. One was the designer, one was the target user. The designer then would have an interview with their target user, get down lots of information about them, and using a generative AI software like Adobe Firefly or Microsoft Bing, they would produce a mood board based on their target user's interests, wants, needs, and things like that. And what that allowed pupils to do was actually to produce an outcome that was much more targeted, in-depth, and more professional looking. And because of the speed of using text-to-image generators, pupils then were able to take that back to their partner and say, right, what do you like about this? What don't you like about it? And then they were able to refine it further, which is something that traditionally would take quite a long time.
But within 3 days of or 3 lessons I should say, of training with the students, the results were amazing. They were producing high quality mood boards, which in the past they would have gone onto Google and copied and pasted the images on. Now they were actually creating these images through the prompts that they were setting in AI.
Once pupils had their initial mood board, then they went on to designing one of 3 product briefs that we gave them. So they would, again, using their target user, they would design by crafting a prompt then that would design a product for them. They were able to produce a very, very high quality visual outcome that they could take back to their partner and say, right, give me some feedback on this. What do you like? What don't you like? What would you like me to develop? And what we found was that kind of process was really interesting because the outcomes weren't taking very long to produce, which left much more time for the actual development of the skill of being responsive to the needs of their target user. Again, something that they will require when they go on and do their coursework.
So they understood that the images generated from their prompts were very polished and very good, but that was just a starting point. That was their sort of research. So as long as they were aware that that's not the work that they're submitting, I think that the AI is going to be a really powerful tool. From there, then they would use their own sketching, they would use their own computer software then to come up with their own designs. But what we were using AI for is the inspiration for them, and I think that's been so powerful with our experiments that we've done this year.
When designing a product with AI, one of the cool features is that you can just make as many as you want and you can tweak as many features as you want. And there's even AIs where you can just edit a certain part of the image, so you can keep the whole image but just edit a little bit so you can tweak it to the target user's needs. So if my target user doesn't like this or the color scheme or the design of this particular bit, I can just cut that section out and regenerate it. So it's really good in that sense of just keep coming with more creative ideas. And it's efficient.
Within photography, one of the ways that we were using it is as a kind of enhanced Google search. So when pupils start their own individual projects, they will choose a topic and then guided by me, they will embark on a couple of different photo shoots and things like that. So what using AI within those lessons allowed me to do is lessons where I would spend 5 minutes talking to each pupil, and maybe this would take a couple of lessons to get around the class. While pupils were waiting for that one-to-one interaction, they're engaging in their own research, coming up with their own ideas. And by using things like ChatGPT, they can gain a lot of very personalized information much quicker than they could do using Google.
I use AI for inspiration for photo shoots. So for my coursework, if I can't think of a specific photo shoot that I may want to do, I can just ask AI, give me a GCSE photo shoot idea for XYZ, and it will give me certain options as to what I want to do, or specific edits that I may want to put in relating to my title that I'll also type in as well.
And where this really comes into its own above Google is the pupils' resilience in refining that information, taking parts that are relevant, disregarding parts that are not, engineering that prompt then to give them more specific, targeted feedback. And what that allows pupils to do is engage in independent learning, that by the time I get round to them in the class, that one-to-one conversation still happens, but the pupils already have a basis of information and ideas there that I can then build on. One of the things that I was really keen to develop this year was the use of text-to-image AI generative software. So primarily we've been using Adobe Firefly, which is available to our students who study Digitech or photography through their Adobe Creative Cloud subscription. This is something that as a school we purchased through Hub because it can come heavily subsidized. One of the areas that we were utilising this in the creative subject wasn't in terms of developing outcomes, but actually to develop their literacy skills. So we identified that we wanted them to be able to describe works of art and photographs in much more detail. So one of the ways that we went about that is by giving them an image or having them choose an image of one of their chosen photographers and getting them to recreate it using a text-to-image software. So what we found is the type of things that we were telling pupils about the lack of accuracy in their work, they were then being able to see firsthand. They would then have to go in and refine that prompt, engineer that prompt so that they could make improvements to get towards the outcome that they were looking for. And that ability to have that resilience and go back in and refine things, but it actually informed their written work then when they went on to do it in their coursework. So again, an idea where AI is not being used to produce the work for them, but it is developing a skill. I think one of the key takeaways from this year and working with AI in the classroom with the pupils has been the space that it's opened up for dialogue. So I think, pupils were a little bit nervous to start with about actually kind of showing their hand in terms of how they understood the use of AI, how adept they already were at it. But I think by creating a space where pupils can talk to you about their expectations, their understanding, their misconceptions in a lot of cases, it informed me as a teacher and allowed me to kind of really get buy-in from the pupils, because they see this as something that is going to impact their lives. They understand the impact it can have on education, even if they don't understand the limitations and where it can be used appropriately. They want that guidance. Pupils are already on this journey, and we have a responsibility really to guide them and to at least try and keep up with a lot of the things that they're currently kind of considering and engaging with.
So outside of school, I have a gig on Fiverr, and the service is basically people come to me with videos that they have, or they want me to advertise certain products or things for them, and I edit videos. But I say about 80% of my workflow is my own work, but then 20% of that is AI, and that's a really good skill for students and people to pick up in general. Like that is using AI in real life skills and implementing it to help benefit them further.